Lega. And Lover Show backspace Sirius XM
Yes,
DJ
sir.
EFN in the building.
What up, what up, what up?
Welcome,
what up,
sir. Welcome.
Here's some information.
Welcome. Thank you, brother. How you doing,
I'm
man?
doing well, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Got a brand new album coming out. Is it out now?
It comes out March 3rd.
March 3rd. It's
yeah.
called Another Time. Album featuring Redman, DJ Premier, Troy Ave, Scarface, Talib Kweli. Is that I Mayday?
Mayday.
Mayday, okay. Mayday, Inspector Deck, Gunplay.
Denzel Curry, Sean Price,
You tell 'em.
CA, Razzcast, Black Milk, Royce the 5'9", Trick Daddy, Dead Prez, and
Wait a
a whole
minute,
lot of
Trick
Lot of
Daddy?
work on that.
Yeah, I'm from Miami, so
Okay.
Nice.
so Trick Daddy's a Miami staple, you know.
Yeah, absolutely,
course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So how did tell me about you? Tell me about hip hop and you,
Okay, well,
because hip hop and everybody is different.
For
So
sure,
tell
for
me
sure,
about
for sure.
EFN and hip hop.
DJ EFN, for those that might know me, I'm known as the mixtape DJ out of Miami, like the dude that was doing it first consistently out of Miami. I started in 1993, making mixtapes on cassettes.
Okay, who influenced that?
The mixtape DJs mostly from New York, the Ron G's, the Tony Touches, the SNS's, like those are the guys that were inspiring me. But what I wanted to bring to the table for Miami is that we were getting these mixtapes from New York, but they were bigging up Brooklyn and Queens, and we couldn't really relate to that, and they were putting on artists from out here. Nobody was putting on any local artists from Miami.
Right.
So what I wanted to bring to the table was I wanted to give you the same quality of mixtape, because those mixtapes had quality to them. And I wanted to give you the same exclusivities, the same artists that you're hearing on there, but I'm going to sprinkle it with Miami flavor and local Miami artists,
Okay.
so you could discover some talent from your own hometown.
Now, EFN, if you remember correctly, when Kid Capri and them started doing mixtapes, there were no artists on the mixtapes.
No. And those
Artists
actually,
didn't-
Kid Capri was one of the people
Yes.
that inspired me.
They would
Yeah.
they would do blends. They would do their
Yeah.
own versions of
Yeah.
remixes. They would just drop crazy records and crazy mixes. But I think in the 90s, in the mid 90s, 92, 93 is when people started featuring certain artists, and they were doing
Different
certain
mixtape
rhymes.
cultures is
Yeah,
what happened.
right.
The Kid Capri era, which it did inspire me, was recording him live in his when he was spinning in a club sometimes.
Oh wow!
Those are a lot of mixtapes that I was getting.
Right.
Live shows,
Yeah.
and then before I had turntable, I was doing pause tapes.
Oh, just me too.
2 tape decks.
Yeah, me
You know
too.
what I'm saying?
From
And
the
then-
radio.
Yeah, straight up, yeah.
Yeah, and so who was the very first person when you started doing your mixtapes? Who's the first local artist that you got to say, all right, come on, I'm doing this and be a part of it?
I mean, well, there was a ton of artists. It's just not just one. Like, a lot of the first times you heard someone like a Pitbull or a Rick Ross, it was on my mixtape.
Okay.
Because the labels and a lot of people catered to me because radio in Miami wasn't playing hip hop yet. It was, and I was doing pirate radio as
When
well.
did
and college
radio in Miami start playing hip hop?
I mean, they played it, but it wasn't. They didn't have no good mix shows. It wasn't too prevalent in radio, so
They didn't have that full-blown radio
nah, it
station?
didn't happen till like maybe late '90s.
I
like
think
maybe,
'93, Dre and I started Hot 97. That's when we were all hip-hop all the time.
up
In
here.
1993, yeah.
Yeah, up here.
And Miami didn't follow suit?
Oh no. L.A., New York, maybe Atlanta, and Miami. For what I know, in a couple, a lot of other states, we didn't have. Radio
bloomers.
wasn't playing.
Not even weekend mix shows? And
It was like. If you're talking about like MC Hammer, you know what I'm saying, running it or something like that, yeah, and sometimes you'll get the occasional
Pop-pop,
record coming
right.
in there, but it wasn't like a mix show like the way it was out here. When we would come out here, it's like, yo,
Wow.
this is crazy, and I'd record the mix shows out here and go back down and just listen to them straight, all the time. So we didn't have that. It wasn't until like Luke, what I think he did is he brought Khaled in. Khaled was doing pirate radio,
yeah.
Mix 96. And he brought him over to do his mix show during Luke's show on 99 Jams.
Right.
And that's when I think it started to change from that. And then when Clear Channel came, I don't know if they were always there, but when they came in, and then they brought the format that they were doing out here,
Right.
and that's when it started to change. But before that, it was you had to rely on pirate radio, college radio, and mixtape DJ.
Now, a lot of people out there don't know the type of artist Pitbull was before he became the type of artist he is now, which I think is brilliant for him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Now, when I met Pitbull, he had braids and he was talking gangster shit.
He admired Dragon. He sounded like Dragon, and
Yes,
he
he did.
had the dreads, the dreads, and he was almost signed to Rough Riders, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of artist that the early mixtapes that you were doing with Pitbull involved in it. That's the kind of stuff he was.
I mean, what it was is that it's just whoever locally was doing something, you know, I was gonna feature them on the mixtape. But the mixtape sounded very similar to a Clue mixtape, a Tony Touch mixtape in terms of artists. I would go drive to record stores in Atlanta, come to New York, New Jersey, when it was on vinyl, first of all.
Right.
And then just like, because I wanted to make sure I had it the same time you were hearing it from these dudes, because I couldn't compete. Because the mixtapes was coming down.
Okay.
You know, one of the biggest mixtape distributors in all of hip hop was based in Miami. Hip Hop Connection.
Right.
I got raided by the feds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this dude, Mark Freeman, I don't know if y'all know about him, but he got raided by the feds and stuff, and he got screwed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the same kind of mixtapes. The only thing is, instead of you hearing shout out to Brooklyn and Queens, I'm shouting out the hoods in Miami.
Right.
Instead of hearing the new guy from Brooklyn and Queens, you're gonna hear the new guy from the different areas of Miami.
Right.
You know, in the intros in the beginning, but the body of the mixtape was still the same good old hip hop from every region that any other mixtape DJ would play.
Right. So were you born and raised in Miami, or you're a transplant?
I'm originally from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I have that in me as well, but I was raised in Miami. I do consider myself a Miami boy.
Okay, so how long did you stay? You was like a little kid when y'all moved to Miami?
Yeah, I mean, we moved back and forth a couple times. I think junior high, and then from that point on.
Oh yeah, then you from Miami.
Yeah.
You went to high school in Miami.
And I'm Cuban, so that's like
Miami.
You automatic Miami.
Yeah, you
Cuban,
from
you know what I'm
Miami.
saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
DJ EFN is here, man. We're gonna talk more with him about this album and what did it take to get all of these artists on one album? That had to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Moni Love speaks very highly of you.
Yo.
This is my sister right there.
Shout out to Moni Love.
Many
Great
years
person.
and on many different projects. So she speaks very highly of you. She's
Dope.
like, Ed, you have to have EFN on your show. Call me. I was like, all right, Mo. When she gets it like that, I gotta call her back, man. So tell me about this album another time and why you decided to do it, and then let's talk about the documentary stuff.
Yeah, so you know, I was actively doing the mixtape stuff like we were talking about for, I think I had up to 44 volumes of it, and I probably stopped being really active in like early 2000. The next progression for me, I think, as a DJ or a mixtape DJ would be to do an album. You know, I saw Khaled do it, the Dramas, you know, all these guys. But at that time, I was doing a lot of stuff. I was managing artists. It just didn't feel like the right moment for me. But then time started passing by, and I was like, damn, I better get to this because, you know, I don't know if these people are gonna fuck with me still, you know, because basically for this album, you see all the artists I got. I really 90% is relying on my relationships.
Right.
And like I said, you know, I was the tastemaker in Miami that these labels, managers, and artists were dealing with, you know, and I had to rely on those relationships still being intact, and I kept them, you know, behind the scenes, but they don't need me anymore as a DJ because, you know, I'm not relevant like that anymore for them. So I was hoping that they were still fucking with me. And luckily for me, you know, these people, you know, came to the table and I told them what I was doing, the project, and you know, most of these people, you know, worked with me, and a lot of these people are friends of mine. These aren't just people that I went out there and bought all kinds of verses.
Right.
Like I tried to put together a real cohesive project that like everything is about like what I encompass, you know, which is respect for the pioneers, the legends, the people that are well established, the guys that are doing it now, the young guys, you know, buzzing that I feel are dope, and then introducing new artists that you've never heard before as well, and then also making sure there's a Miami stamp in there as well because that's my city.
Right, absolutely.
Definitely.
So how hard was it to get everybody together?
I mean, before I started it, I was just like looking up a mountain like this. I don't know if I could ever do this. But once I started getting, you know, the production, then one person on a track, and then it just started snowballing into, I felt like I was back in my mixtape hustle.
Okay.
The mixtape hustle for me was like, I got to make sure I have these certain exclusive tracks, you know, and then I have to have these other tracks, and I have to have 2 or 3 exclusive freestyles just for my mixtape. So people are like, yo, you heard that new verse that Nori did, or you heard this? Like, I needed that, and that's how I felt with this. And then, you know, in the mixtapes, you would get the one verse, and then you tell the next artist, my man Nori just killed this freestyle for me. You know, you want to do something on this, and then that's how you would kind of finagle it, and that's how it came about with this album. Like, once I started getting people just, you know, I would tell people, hey, this dude just did this.
Who did the majority of the production? Did you do it yourself?
Nah, I didn't produce it all. I'm just curating the project, executive producing it. I picked local producers from Miami. You know, that was the easiest thing, and I wanted also to put them on. This is one of my young producers, Beats in the Hood, that I manage.
Okay.
And I did a track with him that's Juvenile, Dead Prez, and Trick Daddy. That's crazy. So yeah, it was mostly local production, but then I wanted to have a couple like feature productions, and I got Premier, which to me, if I'm gonna do a project like this, and as a hip hop head, I gotta have Premier.
Gotta have Primo.
And that record was real special because Guru had hosted mixtapes for me and worked on stuff with me in the past. and I had these vocals, and I was like, if I ever do something with Premier, I'm gonna present these vocals, be like, would you create a hook out of these vocals? And that's the closest thing I could get to a Gangstar record.
Wow.
And he did me that solid, and he was like, oh, this is dope. Nobody's ever asked me to do this, and he cut these vocals of Guru saying EFN, Crazy Hood, like, you know, repping my company, and that's Premier cutting it up, and then we put Scarface on that, Troy Ave, and Stally on that record.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That's like a good look, man.
Yeah, and I wanted to be like these mix and match artists that you wouldn't think, you're like, I don't know how that's gonna sound, but then you'll see that there's a rhyme and reason, like it came together and it sounds cohesive.
Now, is it difficult to put 3 different artists the way music is made today, where guys are so busy they're not in the studio together?
Yeah, that is difficult, and I was very lucky that these tracks don't sound like these people are recording in different places. You know, I gave them the theme, you know, and I told them what it was about, and everybody sounded, you know, everything sounded pretty solid. But and a couple people, more than, you know, I would say about half the people came to the studio, to my studio in Miami, and recorded. Like I told you, a lot of these people I'm really close with, and I'm cool with. So a lot of them came to the studio. So yeah, that part, I didn't have a problem with that part. I think once people hear it, that won't be the issue. Like it'll sound like very cohesive. Is the only word that I can
This year, Lover Show Backspin Sirius XM, we're talking to DJ EFN. Did anybody not show up?
Of course.
How many people did you reach out to that didn't come through?
Don't have to name them though.
No.
Oh, you know me. I know you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, you know what? Three artists.
Three.
I mean, look, I didn't know. At the end of the day, a fan tweeted and said, "You have 66 artists on your album."
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot, bro.
Like
and only 3?
They're like, Tony got 50
ratio.
MCs. I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to be Tony by no means. Tony Touch is my homie. But wow, I was even like, I didn't even realize that I had 66 artists on here.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long does a project like that take to put together?
Half a year. Which I think now in retrospect, that's not that long.
That's not that long, yeah. For
21
people,
tracks.
Yeah, for 21 tracks and 66 artists?
Yeah.
That is not that
Not
long.
bad.
When we come back, DJ EFN is going to tell us all about the global documentaries on hip-hop that he's working on. That's DJ EFN in the building with me.
Yes,
Got
sir.
Trick Daddy on his brand new album, Another Time. Why'd you call the album Another Time?
Because, you know, I grew up in that mid, you know, early to mid 90s era, and I feel like, you know, that's the era that I'm kind of stuck in musically.
You fucking hate today's hip-hop, don't you?
I don't. I mean,
Some of it you like, but overall.
I mean,
Overall.
I think we're lucky that we experienced something that nobody's ever going to be able to experience again.
Right.
Something at its infancy. You know, we were lucky. That's it. It's not these kids' fault that they're not experiencing that.
Yeah, sure ain't.
You know, but luckily they have like artists like a Kendrick, you know, Joey Badass. These guys
Joey
are
Badass album is dope.
they're embodying
Chris Webby. Shout out to Chris Webby. Saw him last night. He's dope. Childish Gambino. Shout out to him. Lupe Fiasco is crazy as fucking sourdough bread with mold on it, but he's still a dope ass MC. There's so many of them, man.
Yeah, man.
What's homegirl now? Why I always forget it. She is fucking Rhapsody. Goddamn Rhapsody is dope.
Yeah.
She's dope, son.
Yeah.
Dope.
You know what I mean? So it's a good thing, man. Now let's talk about what you're doing globally with your documentary series on hip hop.
So yeah, 2012, I decided to go to Cuba, which is my parents. They're from Cuba. I got Cuban family, Cuban parents, and I don't know if you know much about.
How you feel about? I've been to Cuba one time.
Okay.
How you feel about what's going on with Cuba right now? We starting a relationship.
Personally, my opinion, I think it's a good thing. Anything that's gonna change the approach that hasn't been working all this time, that's gonna help the Cuban people.
Right.
Now it's gonna be slow. Nothing's gonna change fast.
Right.
But if it's gonna change in any direction, a little bit, then that's better than nothing.
Okay.
We have to change our approach. We can't just be stubborn. I don't understand how we have relations with Vietnam. We fought a war with them.
Right.
You know, with
no
China.
relationships with
You know, like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
So
it's good for the cigar.
let's switch it up and let's see what happens.
It's good for us that smoke cigars.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink some rum, right?
That's right. Let's get some more cigars over here, please.
So yeah, I mean, so we went to Cuba for the first time, but like you said, how do I feel? Because in the Cuban community, the Miami Cuban community specifically, they are totally against everything having to do with Cuba. Like we're raised, you don't go to Cuba, you don't spend money because you're giving it to the Castro regime. You're a communist if you travel there. You're a communist if you say you like Cuba. Like it's just they just scare you. And I mean, there's been issues in the past where there was terrorism versus people that anybody even like had an inclination towards something positive towards Cuba, the country. So when I told my family, I couldn't tell all of them. I told my mom, you know, I just had to spring it on them after the fact. I was like,
Right.
hey, I told my grandma when I got back, and she didn't talk to me for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Still hasn't seen the film and doesn't want to see pictures of it.
Oh, wow.
And I have to respect that.
She has
because
bad memories.
They went through something.
They
all
went through some
serious shit.
So my father
And the
came
Castro
in.
regime had their boot on their fucking neck, so
They
they're
did.
not fucking with that.
They did. Yeah, they went through a lot. So I respect them, but I also know times have changed, and we got to do something for the people there now.
Right.
Yep.
And I I understand there's a lot of political stuff that's just a bunch of bullshit that we're allowing to just continue and fester. Like, let's just change it up. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I went. And I said, I don't want to deal with the politics because that would be a mess.
Right.
I'm not there to do politics. So I was like, the one thing I know is hip hop. I'm going to go there. I'm going to try to link with hip hop heads out there, artists, DJs. And that's what we did. We filmed the experience. We stayed with a family. We didn't go in a hotel fancy. We stayed Cuban style, flushing the toilet with a bucket of water.
Oh, wow.
No air conditioner. That was crazy.
No AC.
Yo, crazy.
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
And yeah, we did that film, and it was really just something. I'm not a filmmaker. My business partner that was with me, he went to film school. But I was like, let's just film it, let's put it together, and let's just see what people think. Just put it out. And we got some festival nods, some festivals picked it up, and then it got to one of my friends that ended up going to Revolt TV.
Mm-hmm.
He brought it over there, and they hit me up, and they're like, yo, we want to license the film from you. Wow. And I was like, that was my first time ever doing like a film like that, so that was crazy to me.
That's dope.
And then while we were showing that film, though, like I was going to different cities and showing the film, I noticed a trend that people were coming up to me that weren't Cuban or weren't even Hispanic or Latinos, and they were like, yo, you're inspiring me to want to go back to my country now, where my parents are from or whatever. And they were from all walks of life. And then I was like, you know what, let me go to these countries and let me explore these countries through hip-hop, because I know hip-hop is everywhere. So I'm curious as well to see how we're influencing these people. And I also wanted to prove a point. Like, when I go to these places, usually I'm going into their hoods, like deep in the hood. And it might be foolish of me, but I'm trying to prove like that hip-hop is the common language. And if I connect with those hip-hop artists in the hood, like, I'm good. I get the hood pass.
Right.
And, it happened in Cuba, but in Peru, we went into, like, their Compton, like, and we went in there, and even the artists that we had met before, like, don't go in that hood, And when we got there, we got greeted with guns, but it was just a show, like, hey, we got them. But as soon as, the artists came out, it was all love. And then in Haiti, the same thing. We went to Cité Soleil in Haiti, which is one of those worst slums in the world.
Right.
And we went in there, and that was crazy as hell, but it's just, I wanted to prove that point. Like, hip-hop is kind of like protecting us. It sounds kind of corny, but it's what's happening. Like, the art form and the culture, like, we have that common bond. And I don't speak Creole. That was the new thing when we went to Haiti. It was the first time I don't speak the language. I spoke Spanish. Cuba, I spoke Spanish in Peru.
Right.
Now I'm going to Haiti. I don't speak Creole.
Right.
So I don't know, the vibe better be correct.
Yeah, you better have somebody.
Someone in Creole says, let's pistol whip this motherfucker and take everything. I ain't going to be able to defend myself from that.
Nothing you can do about it.
I'm only going to hear it from
I don't even know if Wyclef could have saved you.
Yeah, so you know what? But it was funny because we're talking to them and they're speaking broken English, and there's a part in the film I'm like, yo, I don't understand a word you're saying, but I understand everything you're saying. And the dude was like, hip-hop.
Hip-hop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. 6 Miami's own DJ EFN is here.
Yes, sir.
Brand new album out. It's called Another Time. Well, it's coming out on the 3rd of March.
Yes.
All right? And y'all can get that. It features a whole lot of people. Most of your favorite MCs are on this album. And EFN put it all together. It took them like 6-7 months to do it. Big hip-hop head.
A lot of work, man.
King of the mixtapes in Miami. Who's holding the torch for you right now?
Mixtapes?
Yeah.
I don't think mixtape culture that I'm from exists anymore.
They don't exist anymore?
No.
Think about it. When people talk about mixtapes now, they talk about a single artist just rhyming on different people's beats, and that's a mixtape.
Right.
It ain't a DJ curating or mixing or blending or doing anything.
Right.
And then the physical, to me, is like, once you took away the physical,
once the physical went, it was out of the...
It was gone. So to pay homage to that, actually, shout out to Redef Records. We're pressing up limited edition cassette tapes of my album.
Dope! I want one of those.
Double LP.
Please make sure I get one of those cassettes.
Double LP and
the
CD.
Cassette.
And the artwork is special because this is my homeboy who's from Miami as well, but he also did the artwork for Slim Shady LP, Eminem.
Right.
Beach Rhyme and Life, Tribe Called Quest.
Nice.
And he's an ill MC. He's also the MC that Eminem's talking about on Stan.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's my homeboy. He made this this album cover, which is a character that we've developed over the years with different projects I put out.
That's a beautiful thing,
That's
bro.
dope, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. We keep it all in the family over there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
man.
Yeah,
Got to, man.
So
If we don't help each other out, then what the fuck?
Yeah, right. You got the whole crew going down doing shit. Doing
Definitely.
a little list. You got his man doing illustrations. So, yeah, Fed. I did this thing when Chris Rock put out Top 5, right? The movie?
Mm-hmm.
Top 5. So I did a panel. Angie Martinez, Shaheem Reed, a few other heads. We all sat around. And everybody spit out their top 5 MCs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Give me yours.
Wow.
Put you right on the spot, didn't I?
Is it in order though? No.
No, sir.
Okay,
Just
because order
top
makes it even
5.
worse.
Yeah, order makes it work.
Order's
Okay.
hard, man.
So, Rakim, Nas, Ice Cube,
Rakim, Nas, Ice Cube. You got
Big
two.
L,
Big L.
and Scarface.
Scarface. Wow. That's a nice 5 right there.
Yeah.
That's a very wicked 5. Rakim, Nas, Scarface,
Big L.
Ice Cube,
Big L.
Big L.
Yeah. And this is Ice Cube pre-West Side Connection.
Early Q.
Early Q.
Yeah, America's Most Wanted Q.
Early Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's you love to look a couple of names off of there,
Yeah.
bro.
No Nas on there.
No, he said
Nas
Nas.
and Nas.
Oh,
No Hova, no Jay.
No Jay-Z.
I mean,
Biggie.
yeah. Biggie, yeah.
Honorable
I don't know, but
mentions.
hey,
Tupac.
then we're going into 10, man. I
I had a
mean,
lot of Tupacs on it. LL Cool J.
but the thing is, I'm also not trying to say what everybody's saying. They're getting enough recognition as well, you know. Like everybody's gonna say Jay-Z, Biggie.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to give you something, you know.
does it drive you crazy like it does me when people sit around and are not qualified to do these lists and
Most definitely.
it drives me fucking
Yeah.
up the wall, man.
Yeah.
And there's some blogger on there talking, and I'm like, when the fuck did you start listening to hip hop? Like, what qualifies you to even talk about this? I think whenever they do the top 5 or top 10 or whatever they do, I think you should have like, okay, we have to create categories, and we have to put these people in like, you know, categories or different eras.
Yeah.
They have to be in.
Generations.
Yeah, generations. 'Cause I think generationally it makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I have an
Yeah,
issue with when the youth starts snapping on the older cats or the older generation, and they saying this and that and the other. I feel like hip hop hasn't changed too much. As a matter of fact, it seems to be going back now to like a '90s
Yeah,
feel
going
sometimes.
back.
Right.
So it's like, unless you fucking walking on ceilings rapping backwards, you ain't doing nothing new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just because, you know, I'm growing gray right now and I'm in the Graybeard gang don't mean I'm not qualified to still talk about what you're doing right now because you ain't
That's
doing
right.
nothing different.
You're not doing shit.
And also, we were taught, I'm assuming everybody here, we were also taught coming into hip hop that you had to pay respect to
That's
the
right.
pioneers.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, I remember going into
Definitely.
a club and I didn't know everything. So when I heard a DJ play a record, I assumed because I gave respect to the DJ that I need to know what the fuck that record is, and I went and dug in the crates. And there was no Google. You fucking going around trying to
Right.
find
Looking
records.
like, what
what the
record was
fuck
that?
did he just play?
That's right.
You know, and I don't feel like that's what the generation now is paying respect to the people
nah.
before them.
Yeah.
You know, and without
I
what
don't
came
feel
before,
like that
there's no
either.
future. You know?
That's right. And one day, and this is what I always tell them, one day you're going to be in that position.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all aging.
That's
Come
right.
on, what's wrong
It's
with y'all?
just- that's a constant.
How you gonna act crazy?
That happens. It happens every day.
Yep.
And I tell them all too, stop acting like Biggie and Tupac wanted to die. There's no glory in them dying early and dying young. They would both like to be here. They never really saw the fruits of their labor. You know what I mean? They would like to be here to continue their legacy. So let's stop acting like they wanted not to be here anymore, and stop acting like you're lucky if you die at 28 or 24 or 25. No, that's not cool. To live is to gain knowledge, and to gain knowledge is to live
and to progress.
and to progress. That's right. And you want to progress. So one day, whoever's the young hot dude right now, whoever it is, whether it's Tiger or Big Sean or whether it's Drake, one day you're going to be 45.
Yep.
And then if you didn't show the people that came before you any respect, then the people that
Not
come
gonna
behind
respect
you are
you.
not going to show you any kind of fucking respect.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, I'm Drake, I did this, and I had Grammys, and they be like, fuck out of here with that old,
Right.
But
old
there's
school
a flip.
bullshit.
There's a flip to that too. You know, cats that are our age or whatever. You know, I'm 39 years old. That act like they 21. You know,
Nah, it's
17.
disgusting.
Like there's these
I
other cats.
refuse to make people make me feel like I'm stupid because I don't like shit.
Yeah.
I can like what the fuck I want to like, and you can like what you want to like also. But I refuse. I got friends like that too. You don't feel this? I'm like, man, that shit is bullshit, and you know it's
Yeah.
bullshit. Stop acting like
It's
you're
like
22.
you just got programmed, motherfucker.
Right. Stop. Don't let them program you.
Yeah.
Some of it is great. I call it stand on the couch music, but you know what I call the majority of it? I call it milk music. It's like milk in the refrigerator. Sooner or later, the expiration date is gonna happen, and the milk ain't good no more.
I like to say sometimes there's a time to be ignorant, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's milk music. So you stand on the couch and listen. Be
responsibly ignorant.
My lifestyle. Let's do that for a little while. We don't know what the fuck he talking about. But it's good for now.
You gotta be responsibly ignorant.
Right, responsibly ignorant. I like that. Responsibly ignorant. DJ EFN in the building with us, man. Shout out to Jay Swift in the building. Jay Swift, what up?
Yep.
It brought tidings of great joy to us, didn't
Oh
it?
man.
Great joy,
Yeah,
great
we all got
joy.
little black boxes. That's
Very
nice.
happy.
I like that.
Yes.
Very happy with that, man.
Very good.
EFN, where can people get your album, man? I like what I'm hearing
They
so
can
far.
pre-order it now on iTunes, Amazon, Google
Show.
Play,
Stop trying to steal my album, show. Give it up.
and here's the actual cover. And
Thank you,
then
brother.
Redef Records is doing the limited press on the vinyl, the tape, and the CD, which will be out in a couple weeks. But you can pre-order that as well right now at redefrecords.com.
Did the people from Revolt tell you when they're gonna be airing your documentaries?
Yeah, Cuba's airing currently. Like it started airing last year.
All right,
so they
cool.
randomly air it now.
Right.
And then, but when we get closer to Peru will air end of March or beginning of April.
Okay.
But once that airs, they'll probably like do back to back Cuba and Peru, and then when Haiti comes out, it'll be in May.
Okay.
And that'll all three of them will start airing.
Working, huh, bro?
Working. I'm trying to set the next one. I'm trying to go to Vietnam.
Oh
wow.
wow. What's the next country?
Yeah, Vietnam. I want to do one where I go to, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, Palestine and Israel in the same film.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you there, EFN.
I just don't want to encounter any problems.
He's a terrorist, and he has come over here to spy for the United States, and we would behead him unless you free our political prisoners. Shit.
If I pull it off, it'd be a hot film.
It'd be a hot film, brother. If you don't pull it off, it'd be a hot film too, because the film will never be seen. They'll burn it. But good luck with it all, man. And thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, man.
And thanks for keeping hip hop alive, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We need our soldiers, right?
Definitely, man.
Soldiers from all over the place, man. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to keep it moving and keeping this hip hop going and letting people know what the essence and the foundation is and to respect it. Because if you want respect, you got to give some respect out.
That's right,
sir.
To everybody. You're going to be an OG too sooner or later, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, DJ EFN is in the building, y'all. Let's see that Lover Show, y'all. Backspin on Sirius XM.